All right. My name is Peter Brusso here for 101 Small Business Mastermind, and we're having great technical difficulties. Richard Bentley will be joining us in a bit, we hope. But Frank Syringa is here. Say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dick. Just force a habit.
Yeah.
In,
Hey,
in,
I
in
like
honor of Dick.
that. That's right. So the
He's
Dick.
not with us because he's not with us. He's not with us because he's not with us.
Uh, can you say that again?
Sure. Okay.
All right. Here comes Dick. He's trying to get on with us here again.
No.
So, oh, Dick, there you are, and we're live. So hopefully he can hear us. Maybe he can't.
Okay.
Um, all right, fair enough. Let's jump right at this, and we're back after a 1 week hiatus there, and I'm glad to be back and getting better. For those that give a damn, there you go. So my first thing that I want to talk about on where was I? It was on one of my various trips back and forth. I was listening to Leo Laporte, and he talked about the Khan Academy. And I want to go over, and I'm going to do this. We'll get over here at the Khan Academy and share my screen in a minute here, and you can learn. Okay, I want to share the screen. I want to share my.
I don't know if you can hear me, Peter, but you're frozen. Looks like we're having internet problems out there at Salton Sea as well.
Oh, geez.
Okay. No, you're back. And I can see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay, good. All right. This is Khan, Khan Academy. And if you look at this, and this is all free, Frank, this is crazy. Here's all the math stuff. You could take all kinds of classes. Here's science, biology, physics, chemistry, organic chemistry, etc. You can see how cool this site really is. And I actually went ahead and joined. It was free, and I took 2 classes in statistics already, and they have little tests and videos, and it's really great. Here's arts and humanities, prehistoric art. We should look at that. That should be interesting. Computing, you can learn computer programming if you want to. Coding. If you think about the 10-year-old that has nothing better to do with his time and has the internet, they could get a college education using this stuff. They even have test preps for all the various different types of tests. There's partner content from museums, NASA, just crazy stuff. College admissions. You can talk to these people, different people, but so you can kind of see how fun this is, and so that's the Khan Academy, where you can really go out and learn stuff. There's a lot of different places on the web that you can go take classes, and they generally cost, and they should cost. But in this case, it's completely free. So I'm really liking what's going on here. So that's one thing I wanted to show.
Well, no, let me comment.
Sure.
Mr. Khan, and I don't know his first name. I want to say Peter, but I'm not sure that's right. He's a young man. He's been interviewed on Fox Business and Bloomberg, my 2 favorite channels, and he is quite a dynamic man. And I don't remember. Not I don't know you want to talk about it. I don't remember. Don't know how he's monetizing this, whether he's being funded by the high tech community or not. But he is disrupting the education community, and therefore he gets my interest when I heard the word disrupting, and like that. And he's a good speaker, and he's very easy to watch and easy to listen to on the interview shows that on the business channels. But for the life of me, I cannot think of how he's monetizing this right now. But I know it is free, and it is pretty good.
Right, right,
As
right.
a matter of fact, they had, again, not my mind coming back, they interviewed, along with Mr. Khan, I think a couple of students, and they learned how to code. And this is in New York, in
Right.
Manhattan, and they learned how to code. And I believe they received job offers or actually had jobs based on what they learned at Khan Academy.
Pretty cool. Yes.
Yeah, very
Very
cool.
Very cool. So let me get back over here and stop sharing. Actually, I can do. I tell you. Get back over here. All right. So that I think is a pretty cool place to go, and really, um, really get a chance to learn stuff that you maybe already did once, maybe I don't know, but you ought to check it out
Hmm.
and go from there. Hey, there's Pam. Good morning, Pam.
Yes.
Good morning.
All righty. So that was Khan Academy. That was one of my things I wanted to show, and then see if I can pull this up. Um, Um, I wanted to talk a bit about, I was working with some keywords last night and how to basically drive traffic into a site. And, you know, I use a particular set of tools to find the keywords, but if there were 100 visits, 100 searches a day on a keyword, um, that you can estimate your traffic from that. There's a, and I should have had that already up, but there's a um, percentage of slot. Let me go pull up this so I know I can remember what I talked about last night on. Here we go. I think I showed this early on in one of the other shows, but boy, we are just having technical difficulties all over the place today. Hey Frank, why don't you Google Con while I'm doing this and see if in fact we can learn a little bit about him. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen again here. I don't want to share. See if it'll let me. I think it will. As a matter of fact, yes. Okay. Uh, Tell me when you have my screen.
Well, I was Googling Khan
Oh,
Academy.
Pam.
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
see
see
it.
your
Computer I'm
screen.
on, so I see it.
Oh, okay. Hey, good morning, Dick.
Uh,
Miracles of miracles.
oh,
Here's the top 10 positions in a Google search. Okay, the in the number one position, they'll get 34% of the traffic. Okay, and it goes all the way down to 2% in the number 10 slot. So if you had, in this case, for example, wrongful death lawyer, there, well, we'll do this one. Why not do that? Wrongful death attorney. There's 1,300 searches a day. And I looked at the SEO competition. I believed I could get them in position number 8, and then that would lead to essentially 45 visitors a day in that position 8 that we could capture. So it's really important that you get your keywords and then get them the traffic, and then doing a SEO competition look, you can estimate via backlink campaign that you would start what position you can get them in, and then this Excel spreadsheet actually calculates it, what traffic you could capture in each of those positions, and then adds up to a monthly traffic of 464 potential visitors. Now, why is that important? Well, basically, most websites have a 1% conversion rate. So 10% of that would be 46. 1% is four visitors we can capture a month as a client. And now you can see the why this heart and soul of doing keyword research is so vitally important, is because you can literally then map out how much traffic you're going to have. You can map out your conversion rate. Now, there are things to actually up that conversion rate, but 1% is a safe number to say. So that's one of the other things I wanted to share. Any questions on that before I get off the screen?
When you have all of these these words that you decide to put on your website, you're going to have to go through now your whole website and change the wording on every page that kind of tentatively did that, right?
Correct. What you want to do is you want to sprinkle these out across a number of different things. First off is the ad copy or the text, and of course the you would like to bold, italicize, and underline the keywords to emphasize that for the search engines to let them know what you're trying to rank for. You obviously put the keywords that you use in each page in your meta tag for each page. You also would try to use it in a headline and an H1 tag. and you'd also like to use them in clickable links and captions under pictures. So there's the off the top of my head the major pieces on a website to do.
So not just finding them,
Oh
but
no.
hours later worth of work putting them in. Yeah.
Well, if you want to play the game, that's how you get traffic. That's one way of getting traffic anyway. But
Right.
yeah, you usually change or upgrade or sprinkle keywords in every 3 months, new ones, to keep it going.
Wow.
It's not easy. It's difficult to play the game. But one thing that's actually golden is a lot of people don't know this part over here. What percentage of traffic you get in each position. So that's priceless stuff. But okay, so I'll get off of that and get back over here so I can see everybody. All right, there we go. And Dick, did you get all your technical difficulties solved?
I don't know what went on in my house yesterday, but it just seemed like everything electronic is failing. But yeah, so
yeah.
you know what? I just reboot like you said, and I put the wireless little thing in another port, and it worked. So I don't know, Peter.
I know.
It's been one of those days.
I was on hold with the state twice. I imagine calling the state controller's office. Imagine what that's like, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other story. All right, and then let's see. And you have something you'll do on the C block, right, Dick?
Yeah.
We'll get a chance to get you in there. All right, my Charlie Maroney's. Here's our sponsor. Gee, Frank, why don't you tell us about your in-laws?
Yes. My in-laws asked me about Charlie Maroney. They said that they just moved here from the Pasadena area, and I told them that I had visited them and they are sponsors of our show. And without telling me, they went and visited. Did a surprise visit. I guess surprise visit that nobody cared about, and they enjoyed their experience. My mother-in-law is a vegetarian, enjoyed her lettuce wedge thing that she got, whatever that entailed. My father-in-law enjoyed. They said the food was good, the portions were great, and the service was fine. And they are finicky. They are very, very finicky, and they plan on going back. And hopefully they'll invite my wife and I along, and I believe they will. Anyway, so Charlie Maroney, job well done. Thank you.
Good job. Yeah, I ran in.
I've had their lettuce wedge, and it is really one of the best.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
phenomenal
lettuce. That's what it is. Lettuce wedge. That's exactly what my mother-in-law had. Yeah, and it was really, really good. So
I had run into one of the veterans out here, and he's just back from Italy, and they went over to Charlie Maroney's, and they were so impressed with the food, and they actually bought I guess they have a reduced balsamic vinegar dressing that they put on one of the Italian salads that they just went crazy for, and they bought a bottle of it. They sold them a bottle of it. Yeah, so that's going good. And I was over there. When was I over there? Monday, I guess it was, and talked with Gary briefly. But yeah, they're doing great. The sandwiches are phenomenal in the deli there, Italian deli. Phenomenal stuff. They have live music now too, by the way. Sunday night, 7 to 9, I think.
Oh.
So yeah, if you have a wife and you want to take her to a place where live music, so you don't have to listen to her talk, that's a good place, So anyway, all joking.
All right, okay, all right.
Alrighty, I went down the wrong rabbit hole on that. Okay.
Yes, you did. Let me bring this back. I just did a quick little research on Khan Academy.
Okay.
Khan Academy started in 2006 by Salman Khan, who is fathers from Bangladesh, mothers from India. He attended MIT, got 3 degrees from MIT, and went to the Harvard MBA school. I don't know if he finished that, but it's a nonprofit, and I didn't have enough. But his revenues in 2012 were a little over $15 million.
Wow, off the site?
Yes, Khan Academy, and his expenses were a little over $7 million.
Wow.
So he's running about close to a 50% gross profit. Now, again, I don't know the source of those revenues. But it is a .org, so it is a nonprofit. So I don't have it, what he's pulling down for salary. But he started this because he was tutoring his cousin on math and using something called Yahoo Doodles or something like that, and decided to put it on YouTube. And he said, wow, why can't I do this for a lot of courses? And now it's all YouTube. And I like their motto. I just got their motto. A free, world-class education for anyone, anywhere. Clever. And they're based out of Mountain View, California.
I know Mountain View, California very well.
Yeah. So that's Mr. Khan. Solomon Khan is his name.
Ground zero.
All
right. That's
cool.
what I got. You got a twin? Do I hear a ticker tape?
Well, again, with all the technical difficulties, we can't do a twin without the ticker tape. So we will have a ticker tape. And thank you, Mr. Jobs and his iPhone. I will have a ticker tape shortly.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Twin, this week in the news, lessons learned. This week's twin is, hey, Erica Leonard. Thank you for the small business lessons. Who in the world is Erica Leonard? Well, she's 52 years old, and she currently lives in England. After college, Erica got a job as a studio manager's assistant for the BBC. But before I go into detail, let me describe Erica's latest accomplishments. Erica is mobbed with a capital M at book signings. Erica is constantly being interviewed on television. Erica was just given a 7-figure contract with Vintage Books. Ellen DeGeneres has read snippets of her book aloud on her TV show. Barbara Walters discussed her book on The View. And in 2012, Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world. Erica Leonard. Author Erica Leonard always dreamed of being a writer, but as critics eagerly stated, her writing was not very good and they were being kind. Okay? So Erica said, well, I'm going to start writing what's called fan fiction on the internet. And she based her characters on the popular Twilight vampire books, novels. She also borrowed plot ideas from the movie Pretty Woman with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere and the Jane Eyre book. She published her first book as an ebook and had to give it away for free because nobody wanted to buy it. But thanks to social media, the response was outstanding, and the book was formally published under her name, E.L. James, and they changed the title to 50 Shades of Grey. And as they say, the rest is history. The rest is history. Yes. I was enthralled by this, and so I did some research, and I discovered 3 business lessons from Erica Leonard, E.L. James, success. And they apply to every small business owner and everybody on this podcast right now. As a matter of fact, mainly me, so I'm being a little self-serving here. Business lesson number 1. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. Erica borrowed her characters and plot ideas from popular books and movies. Okay? She just did it differently. Not better, differently. There are many existing businesses today that built their companies and their empires on an existing product or service. The first example that comes to mind is, why did the world need another pizza company? Domino's says, I've got a different idea. I either deliver it in 30 minutes, or it's free, money back guarantee. And they built a $1 billion company just taken an existing product and service, which is the pizza delivery, and made it that. So what existing product or service can you offer, not in a better way, but in a different way? Erica Leonard did. Okay. Small business lesson number 2. It does not have to be perfect. And this is really aimed at me, well, big time. Initially, the critics who read Erica's writing said it was so bad that it made the Twilight books look like Shakespeare. That's how bad her writing was. Okay?
It still is, but
Okay, I have not read the book. So have you read the book, Pamela?
no, I got one of her other books and was just trying to see if I could read a little bit of it, and I'm going, wait a second, I just can't even follow these sentences. They're just don't make it for me.
Right. Okay. In fact, if it had and you'll see it in number 3, had she followed her critics' lessons, she would have said, I got to find something else to do because I'm not good enough. She said, baloney.
Right.
Her writing filled the need. Even though it was not literary genius, not even literary good, it was literary terrible, it has made her millions of dollars.
What I said in one of my blogs is that had Shakespeare had an English teacher correcting his language, we would have never had Romeo and Juliet.
Thank you. Thank you. So the lesson here is, and this is a big one for me, Frank Syringa, what product or service are you waiting to launch until it is perfect? Erica Leonard didn't. If it is good enough, it is time to launch your product or service. And then number 3, and this is the one I argue with all the time with people in business. Erica Leonard said, I'm going to go after a certain audience. The lesson is, by the way, the narrower your niche, the more broad your appeal, which is contradictory. The narrower your niche, the more broader appeal. Erica wanted to write love stories, but so did thousands, and so do thousands of other authors. So Erica went against the advice of her friends and colleagues and decided to write her novels for fans of what she calls provocative romance. Provocative romance is a nice way to talk about BDSM. And for those of you like me who didn't know what the hell BDSM was, it's bondage, dominance, sadomasochism. Can you imagine the pushback from her friends? Erica, you are ignoring the thousands of fans who are interested in pure romance. Or Erica, many people will be offended by your focus on BDSM. Erica did not care. She went the provocative romance route. The lesson here, what narrow niche could you dominate? Parentheses, pun intended. Okay? And why aren't you? Why aren't you? And those are my 3 business lessons from Erica Leonard, aka E.L. James, the author of the first of a trilogy called 50 Shades of Grey. Point. I went to see the movie last Saturday.
Really?
It was just about a little over a 2-hour movie. 20 minutes of it was the BDSM stuff, where they actually showed mild versions of it. But the movie was fascinating. And I can't wait for the sequel.
Wow. I'm surprised you could sit through it.
Well, wait a minute. No, but as Ron Popeil said, but wait, there's more. Next week, I am going to talk about the small business lessons I learned from the movie itself. And there are some outstanding business lessons that were displayed by Erica Leonard in her terrible writing, though screenplay I thought was pretty good. At least 3 small business lessons that I'm going to talk about next week based on the movie itself. I did not read the book. I don't read those kind of books, but I do. Obviously, watch those kind of movies. But there are some great business lessons that we can learn from 50 Shades of Grey, and that will be my twin for next week. And gentlemen and ladies, thank you, Pamela, for being on board. That is my twin for this week.
Right.
Could I offer two things? One, if there is a sequel, it will be done with a different leading man. I don't know the guy's name, but his wife.
James Dornan.
Yeah, his wife has said no more.
Nope.
No more. That's one's enough.
And you know who's dominant in that family.
and two, I forget the college, but there's a college where the female students are actively pushing to have a BDSM class. Because
Hey, they can join Gore in Second Life.
I would like to respond to Dick's 2 points, as I always do. Okay. Point number one: James Dornan has just signed on to appear in the sequel. His wife is relented.
Oh, she relented. Oh, okay.
Yes. No, I don't know under what stress or tie-ups she relented. But no, I don't want to be on
tie-ups. Oh, well, there's
I'm sure his wife relented when they doubled his salary.
Tied now.
I belong. Yes, I follow their fan pages.
Wow.
Because there's some great business. Again, wait till next week. There's some great business lessons. Number one. And number two, the college is Mount Holyoke. It's an all-girls school in Holyoke, Massachusetts, which, by the way, I went to UMass in Amherst, and I never met those girls. I went there all the time, and I never met them. I never met the girl that were interested in this class. So it's interesting because before my wife and I went to the movie, I heard her saying it's porn and it's this and these are people who had never seen the movie, and I said porn, but it's only rated R. So I went, and fascinating. I recommend small business owners to see, again after next week, to see the movie. It's amazing what we can learn from that movie.
I think we need to sell a rope bondage kit. The self-starter kit. How about that?
Well, in virtual handhold, I had to do a lot of the special kinks within the virtual world, and so I got to understand and to recognize when someone was sub or dom and what they wanted and what they didn't want it. And actually had to use portion of that knowledge in a relationship. So.
Shibari, here we come.
It's an interesting thing, and psychologically, I studied it. A good portion of people who have had not any bonding experience as a child, they actually cannot feel anything, and so the pain actually is it's the first time they actually feel stuff. So.
I'm going to steer away from this topic altogether. Thank you, Frank.
I'm muting myself.
God, well. All right. Well, hey, Dick, you're up next.
All righty. Frank's always a tough act to follow, but this may be the toughest.
Well,
wait till next week.
Take the ropes off and run. Okay.
Do we have to start branding this for mature 18-year adults and 18 and over, or what?
You're going to learn next week how to tie up your prospects.
Now that's really naughty, Frank.
Yeah,
it is.
All right. Well, let me. There's a couple things here. I was talking to Peter last night, and and yesterday was one of those days that hope doesn't come along every month, but that particularly bad day with things breaking down and all, and I spent an hour and 45 minutes on the telephone trying to have Brothers Printers tell me why my printer wouldn't print, and I was scheduled to go to a mixer with La Quinta Chamber of Commerce, and I was quite frustrated. I got to be honest with you. I accumulated yesterday about $1,200 worth of repairs that I need to make on various things in my house and my car. But that's my problems. But the thing, when I got through, I was really frustrated. I was talking to my wife, and she said, "Why don't you stay home?" And I said, no, I can't do that. The lesson that I learned and I would pass on to anyone is, they will say life happens, and it does. And you're going to get days that you just want to break out the vodka and sit there and drink. But you can't do that. You have to have your business plan set, your day set, and go ahead with it. She said, "How are you going to be over there?" I said, "I'll be fine." I'll walk in there and I'll be the Legal Shield associate, and this other stuff will be behind me. So part of what I want to say today is, life happens. Make sure you have your business side all set. You know what to do and get back to it, because if you give in and say, you're right, Bev, I think I'll just stay home and have a drink with you. That's a cop out. That's the easy way out. Be determined enough, be persistent enough, and be strong enough mentally to override those things and go. And I went, and I had a pretty decent night. So that's kind of one thing. But the main thing I want to talk about is I was watching, listened to a sports show, Mike and Mike in the morning, ESPN. And baseball has a problem because they're saying it's too slow, and they're losing the youth, and they're using most of the people going are 50 and older, and they're just not. They don't think it's popular because it takes so long. So they had someone do a study of the attention span of a 30, 40-year-old. And when they did the study before, the attention span was 12 seconds. It is now 8 seconds.
Wow.
So it's 8 seconds. So I got to thinking about, we talked with Frank about the 27-second pitch. And I was thinking, that's like 19 seconds too long. Because by the time I get halfway through it, if this is accurate, I've lost them unless I grabbed them right from the beginning. And one of the things they said is you have 8 seconds to grab them and get their permission to go further. And so last night at the mixer, I tried an 8-second thing. And when people said, "What do you do?" I said, "I provide legal peace of mind for individuals." That was it. And usually the response was, "Oh, yeah, well, what do you mean? How do you do that?" And so I got their permission to talk to them longer. And then I did a 27-second version because I figured, the fishing probably gave me 15 or 18 more seconds to grab them again. And so I did that, and I ended up with 3 or 4 people that that may or may not sign up, but had good conversations about what I do. And so I think that the lesson is you've got 8 seconds to get permission to do the 27-second, and you got 27 seconds to make them interested in what you really do. So it's like a 3-step process that I tried last night, and I found it pretty beneficial, and I got to refine it a little bit. But the grabber was, and then Peter, I think you're the one who said this the first to me, is you provide peace of mind. So that's why when I was driving over, I was thinking about it. I said, I'm just going to say I provide legal peace of mind to individuals. And some people, it just went over their head, and I must have lost about 4 seconds. But quite a few of the people were interested in hearing more. And the other thing I do is I don't go up and talk to people and say what I do. I go up and talk with them and listen for as long as it takes for them to ask me what I do. Because then I'm getting permission to get 8 seconds of their attention span to hopefully get 27 seconds, hopefully get a sit down. So I think we should really, as small business people and people who are in network marketing in particular, and I saw, the other thing I was saying, last night I saw this one lady. She just had her business cards in her hand, and she'd walk up and say hi and just hand them out like they're poker chips or something. And she got nowhere because I just watched to see what happened, and people just you could see they were turned off from the beginning. So I think the approach you go to any of these type of situations is engage the conversation and listen to what the other person has to say. And if they are interested in what you do, they're going to ask you. And if they do ask you, take 8 seconds to grab them and 27 seconds to get some more time with them. And that's kind of the small business lesson I want to talk about today. So, but
Dick, Dick, the one thing that I always tried as a one-liner was um, when people ask what I do is I make people like you money off the web.
Yeah.
That captures them pretty
Yeah.
quickly. Well, how do you do
It
that?
does. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I was stunned when and this was it's a sports it's on TV and radio talk show in the morning, and they're talking about baseball, what they're trying to do, and they hired this group to do the study. And when they first said it used to be 12 seconds, it went down to 8 seconds. I said, "Oh my God, that's ridiculous! You don't have any time." And like last night, the setting was a very crowded bar with a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, and also I may only had 5 seconds with them. So I learned a lot just from that TV show, and I learned a lot by trying it last night. So that's I'm going forward going to use that technique.
Frank?
90% of the people at networking events, 90% is my guess. I don't have a study, but my guess. Say, what do you do? And they'll say the 4 to 5 words that guarantee they won't get anywhere. And here are the 4 to 5 words. What do you do? I'm a web developer. I'm a CPA. I'm a independent associate with Legal Shield. I'm a graphic artist. I'm a photographer, right? And people say, well, forget about it. But like you did yours, Dick. I protect people and whatever it is. Well, the other ones that I recommend to a lot of people I work with is say, well, let me tell you a story. And you've bought yourself time to start telling a story, because people love stories.
My Doug
No.
and Annalisa's story works out well too. But
Right. But if your story starts off with, well, you start, but again, you've bought yourself another 4 to 8 seconds to grab them at the beginning of your story, because they can shut you up. Anyway, so I think that's a great lesson, Dick. A great lesson. And
now,
thank you, Mike and Mike.
Dick, I imagine you were having such a difficult day technically yesterday. I only imagine when I found out you went to the La Quinta thing, you pull out your surfboard and the CD-ROM falls off.
Falls off. Yeah.
Pull it out and it falls off.
I figured there's going to be a lot of mishaps, but I used a 25-minute ride from my house to the first 15 minutes I used to vent off steam about what went on during the day, and the last 15 I just get ready to go in and do some business. So yeah, but I just found I found and evolved my whole experience of network marketing from kind of what Frank just said. Hey, what do you do? I'm an independent associate with Legal Shield. Well, I lost them on independent, but I really like the thing. And again, Peter, I think you're the one who first said it. Is I provide legal peace of mind to on legal matters, and 9 out of 10 times there are people going to say, "What do you mean by that?" And then I have to give them the 27-second version, and I'm going to try and rearrange the 27 seconds so the big impact is the first 10 seconds or 12 seconds. So I grab them again.
I think
And
there's
then,
another point that you just said, Richard, that I'd like to point out that you
sure,
probably didn't notice. You said you, on your drive up there, you reviewed your stuff, and then you
yeah,
got yourself into a mindset to present,
right,
right?
yes,
And I remember when I was a professional clown and had 4 little kids, and all the kids were crazy and horrible and arguing with husband and taking all this other stuff. It was very hard for me to get in a professional clown mode. Air
yeah,
quotes for you, Frank. And so I actually had to sing full voice in the
mm,
car, make them
yeah,
laugh,
yeah, yeah,
just to get myself in the mentality. And that's exactly what you were doing to put
yes.
yourself in the frame of mind before you present yourself forward. So I thought that was something that I wanted to point out that you said.
No, that's true. It's very true, and that goes along with what I started with. That life happens. I don't care if you're Bill Gates or you're Dick Bentley. Life happens, and if you let life overtake your mind and run into the business world, you're going to fail. And I had to get life out of my mind and get in the frame of mind that I was going to go over and try to do something different and get ready for it. And that preparation is in my mind is so key to anything would do. So
You
yeah,
know,
I
there
agree.
there's a rule that I used to have when I had a big marketing staff with me or sales staff with me. We would be driving to a potential client, and I call it the 15-minute rule. 15 minutes before we hit our target, we start switching gears to what's the objective? What do we want to do? What do we want to come away with? So I always call it I evoke the 15-minute rule,
Yeah,
kind of like our green room. I'm
yeah,
invoking a 30-minute rule there.
yeah.
Let's get our act together. What are we going to do? What are we going to say? What do we want to come out with? Yeah, but that's important stuff.
It
Absolutely.
really is. And going back to sports again, Tiger Woods is probably the greatest golfer ever lived. The last time he played, he looked like me chipping. He was dubbing him, knocking him over the green, knocking him, and most of the people are saying his problem is mental.
Oh, it's always,
And
yeah.
and 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 it's the same thing in business. If you're not mentally prepared for whatever you're going to present or talk about, you could have the greatest presentation in the world, but if you're not mentally ready to do that, you're not going to do a good job at it. And I think mental preparedness and mental toughness is so important in the business world as well as the sports world. So,
It's all about an attitude.
yeah,
The I had to laugh at myself yesterday. I did one of my website reviews, which I think everybody here's seen one at least, and I sent it to the Sports Grills Inc. guy. He makes
yeah,
these really
yeah,
cool. I'll have to show it. He makes these really cool barbecues.
yeah,
The sports barbecue looking thing.
yeah,
Anyway, his name is Robert Serrano. I made the entire video calling him Ron
oh, jeez.
because my best friend is Ron, and it just took over,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until I'd actually done the 4 hour thing, right?
Oh
I
my
was I
gosh.
was in another part of the house. I go, oh my God, did I call him Ron when he's supposed to be Rob? So
Uh,
so I had to send him an email and apologize for that, but overlooked that part. And the
yeah,
right answer would have been to do it all over again, but
yeah,
I couldn't take 8 hours to
no,
do that. It's just not going to happen. Too busy.
yeah,
So yeah, that's oops, but hey,
yeah,
life happens. Get on with it.
yeah.
A
Anyway,
senior moment.
well, I don't know. Senior moments for me is usually I can't remember something or something, but to call somebody the wrong name, it was
Yeah,
just I was an autopilot.
yeah.
That was it. That's all I can say is I was an autopilot with his name, but whatever. So anyway, there you go. So Frank, do you have a fractured business tale?
Yeah, this is a positive one as opposed to a negative one. We have a tennis tournament around here in Indian Wells called the BNP Paribas. It is a
Looks like
to
we're having internet.
qualify,
Yeah, okay.
and it's a valley. I
Whoops.
we
Yeah, no.
we had 430,000 people show up last year, about 450, extremely funded by Larry Ellison of the tournament. It is not a major, but it gets TV and so forth. And we attended a meeting yesterday, orientation meeting. The tournament runs about 3 weeks. And the tournament director was giving his presentations. And then he said, now listen to this. There's a men's tour called the ATA, and there's a women's tour called the WTA. And every year they vote. This is the professional players vote on their favorite tournament or the one that they admire the most. The ATA, the men's tournament, voted the PNP Paribas tournament in Indian Wells as #1 in their list, competing against Wimbledon, French Open, Australian Open, and the US Open. 4 majors. And we came in first. And there was a lot of pride with that. He says, but that's not all. Then he put up the next slide.
There's more.
And he
There's
said,
more.
yes, the women's tournament said BNP Paribas was a #1 on their circuit as well. And it's the first time in the history of tennis that the same tournament was voted #1 by both the men and the women. And so we took a lot of pride in that because we're the volunteers. We're the volunteers. So I was trying to think of the small business lessons, because that's where my mind goes. And we're number one because we, and I say we because I'm the volunteer, we have two groups of customers. The obvious one are the patrons, the 430,000 people that are going to pay to come and watch our players play. And I don't know if you all have been to Indian Wells. It's a beautiful facility, beautiful facility. And they stress with every volunteer, there's 1,200 volunteers for this tournament, they stress how the customer must feel special from the moment they enter the grounds until the moment they exit the grounds. And our job is to make them feel good at every point of contact. And they spend a lot of time training that. So what? All the tournaments do that. We think we do it better. But here's where BNP really, really excels. Our second customer are the players. The players do not have to come to Indian Wells and play. Now, there's $1 million prize, so maybe that's what it is. But these people have endorsement deals all over the place. And we get obviously the top players in the world. BNP Paribas this year spent, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars upgrading the player lounges, the player locker rooms, and the player dining halls to make sure that the player, and we find out exactly what their food preferences are, and whether they eat there or not, we're prepared to serve them the food that they said they would like to have whenever they're at the tournament. We have practice facilities that are geared strictly to the likes of each individual player. So BNP Paribas, and I think small business owners, the lesson here is,
Boy, this is
who is your customer, or in this case, to your customers, and what can you, what?
yeah, the internet's not being kind to you.
Bad internet weather.
No, I think it's the internet gods. He's
by
pissed them
saying,
off.
treat your customers well and they will come back.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Boy, that was suspenseful, wasn't it? Wow. I was hanging on every word. Maybe we should make our pitches that way where we talk really slow and then have lots of gaps. How about that?
Hey, Frank, just a side note, on Veterans Day, they offered 2 free tickets to match to veterans. So,
have you been to the tournament? Have you been to the tournament?
No, I've never been. No, I've never been. My wife saw it in the paper, so I went over and got them. Yeah.
Okay, no, the grounds are beautiful. The whole everything is just first class. And like I say, they've instilled, and this is only my second year. They've instilled pride in me. My first assignment is next week on a Thursday afternoon, as a matter of fact, and I'm excited to go and represent BNP and Larry Ellison and his management team. And do a good job again for the tennis tournament. It made me proud to be a volunteer.
That's great.
So, hey Dick, one other thing that is kind of interesting as a parallel to your quick pitch there, is you got their attention. Is kind of like an opt-in email list,
Yeah.
like AWeber, you got to opt them in, and they want to be sold, and that's kind of.
You're right, because effectively, when I say what I say, and they say, "How do you do that?" They're giving me permission to tell them.
Exactly, just like an opt-in list gives you permission to sell to them.
Right. Absolutely.
It's very, very much the same way. So I got 2 Amazon fractured tales to talk about. I should have saved the damn thing, but. My OtterBox, which is an outer case. It's actually an inner case and an outer case. This is a plastic outer case. It finally gave up the ghost. It was all falling apart, and I went ahead and bought a $37 replacement for that, and I paid extra for 2-day shipping that was 4 days incoming. That's not good,
No.
Thank you, FedEx. For screwing that up. And then Amazon asked me to put in a review on the Bluetooth headsets that like we talked about a while back with Phil. I bought a set, don't like them, and I explained why I didn't like them. The seller was all, I'll send you another pair. It has nothing to do with that. It just doesn't interface with Camtasia, for example. And I put up this review, and Amazon took it back down. Why'd you ask me to put in a review, an honest review, if you're going to take it back down? So those are my two fractured tales that it goes almost back to the LinkedIn thing. It says, here, find some more friends, right? And you do that. Now you pick too many, and they never told us how many we could pick.
Yeah.
God Almighty, Anyway, those are my two fractures. So.
Well, I have one. If I could take a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good one, and Peter and I have talked about it. I went to a Rancho Mirage chamber mixer a couple weeks ago at a place called Perch, Pirch.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and Perch is a wholesaler for high-end and medium-end kitchen appliances and sinks and all the accessories that you need if you're remodeling or building a new home. So I went and I was talking to the business development manager there, and we were talking about the different things. And every Friday, and I had known this, they offer, get this, a free lunch, which, there's not many free lunches left in this world, but this is a free lunch, which I thought was for their prospective contractors and customers and all. And she said, well, why don't you come? I said, well, isn't it for I've always felt it was for your contractors and customers. I didn't want to come in and be a moocher here. She said, no, it's for anybody. I said, anybody? She said, yeah. He says it's a great networking opportunity, and then we do it. So I went, and it's a free lunch. It's a very
it really was a free lunch.
It's a very, very good free lunch. It was a buffet. They had hors d'oeuvres and salads and vegetables and beef bourguignon, and the line was out the door. And I was just a side note. I was talking to this lady behind me, and I said, "Have you been to this before?" He says, "Oh yeah, I've been coming here about 3 years. Me and my friends all meet and come here for lunch every Friday." So
free lunch. Jesus.
So I wanted to meet the director of the store or whatever to see if he wants to come on our podcast. So I'm going to go tomorrow and see if he does. And I sent him some information on it. But we're talking. I said, this is a very unique philosophy you have here. It's almost like it's 20 years ago. And he said, yeah, we think we're probably maybe even 30 years ago philosophy. He said, but we want to give back. They also hold dinners and raise money, and they give it to they have the local culinary arts students come over, and they give any money they make, they give back to the school. And he says, we want to give back, and we don't mind if someone, I mentioned the lady behind me, said we don't mind that at all. The lunch is for anyone that wants to go. And I said, well, that's amazing. He said, it's amazing, but you won't believe the loyalty we have from our customers and our contractors because of the things we do. And I said, well, I got to commend you. It's a great story. It's a great store. And I think he's probably going to come on. I'll find out tomorrow, and be on our podcast. I think he has a tremendous story to tell that is different from anyone in this day and age is doing. And I guess if I had to title it that there is such a thing as a free lunch. At least at Perch at Rancho Mirage, and I commend them for their philosophy.
We're going to have to go over there sometime. It'd be nice to, like we said before, is to actually have them live from the store.
I'm going to go tomorrow and talk to both of them to see if I can pin them down and see if I can get them to commit to.
Tie them up, Dick. Tie them up.
Yeah, I'll tie them up. Yeah. Let's not go back to that.
I think it's going to be a running thing here now. Give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. There you go.
I have a little story.
Hey, what is it?
Okay. I don't know. I'm not on the screen now, so I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Oh yes.
Okay. Once I was when I worked at Washington State University, I had an announcement when Angel, which is a learning management system, got bought out by Blackboard. And so if they bought out by Blackboard, he was giving all the reasons why we're doing this, and he was very philosophical, which uh, touched my heart immediately. And I decided, well, I am going to write to this CEO of the Angel and Blackboard, and gave him a long definition of what I do and what I thought about education and how I thought this was good and this was good and all this other stuff, thinking that I was going to go into the Dropbox of Never Never Land. And I didn't. He actually responded to me quite articulately with a response almost equal to mine, because nobody had talked to him without doing a pitch, but I was just actually talking to him philosophically as a philosopher. Later on, as I continued communicating to him, I was going to head to the Blackboard convention, and I got there, and lo and behold, he had shared my stories that I had shared with him with the CEO of Blackboard, which is a global thing here, and I received flowers from the CEO of Blackboard independently at my hotel room. And even to this day, I can type to him and he will respond to me. And I only met him then after the fact, but we had a relationship before I ever met him, and it was only because I wanted to comment on what his thoughts were. So actually opening up communications with people that you don't think will ever respond to you can still, if you're sincere in your communication, can still give you great links and great opportunities.
All right.
As long as you're not trying to sell them in your initial conversation.
Right.
Congratulations, Pamela. That's wonderful. That's a wonderful story. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're up at the top of the hour. Does anybody have anything else they want to cover? No? Okay. Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
All right, guys.
Good night, Dick.
Hold on. That's like John Boy, isn't it? Like, good night, John.
Yeah.
John Boy. Good night, Dick. Hang on.